Comic books are a medium defined by constant evolution, by stories that are told and retold over the decades for new generations of readers. But how does a writer build on a story after it grows so popular it becomes mythic? How do you redefine an icon? To many, Superman is the face of American comic books, a character so timeless and iconic that his legacy can be felt through a single page. The character has undergone plenty of changes in his 83-year history, moving from a champion of the people to a wholesome, all-ages hero, to a conflicted but ultimately incorruptible figure. But by the early 2000s, DC Comics was looking to redefine the character again, replacing the origin told in John Byrne's classic Man of Steel series, and finally bringing Superman into the 21st century. This new take on the character would arrive in the 2003 miniseries Superman Birthright, created by writer Mark Waid along with artists Leinil Francis Yu, Jerry Allen Gillen, and Dave McCaig. While the 12-issue miniseries celebrates and modernizes a number of points from the Man of Steel's history, Waid and his team also used Birthright to redefine the character of Superman, examining his identity in a newer, more cynical era, and how it shapes him, his chosen family, and eventually the world at large. Before I go any further, I'd just like to say that this is only one video in the multiversal collab we're calling DC Defined, where some talented fellow creators and I have picked a part of DC Comics history that we think defines DC, whether it's comics, TV, film, or beyond. Feel free to check out the other videos, or even join in if you've got a favorite moment of your own. Just create your own video, reach out to Josh Lozano on Twitter, and join the ever-growing legion of creators celebrating what they love about DC Comics. Birthright's story begins where most of its predecessors do, following scientists Jor-El and Lara as they desperately prepare a means to save their son from a coming apocalypse. Writers have explored Krypton in a number of ways throughout the years, but through a heartfelt scene between Superman's birth parents, Waid channels the full history of Krypton, a history that now rests with the infant Kal-El. Superman's story has always carried a kind of immigrant subtext, but through Birthright, Waid brings that subtext to the forefront, focusing on Clark's journey to connect with and ultimately protect his heritage.
Make room for it. Why? The language will be dead, Laura. He'll never be able to read it.
It's not there for him, my love. It's there for you. Our son. The last of the elf family. The last son of Krypton. Let him never forget.
This focus on heritage and identity becomes the bedrock that Waid builds Superman's journey on, following Kal-El, now Clark Kent, as he grows up in a world shaped by xenophobia and insecurity. Pulling from the real-world paranoia and prejudice from the time, Waid makes Clark's powers and heritage less of a wholesome call to adventure and more of a complicating factor in his life. Much of the series' first 3 issues explores the sense of isolation, with Clark traveling the world trying to find acceptance, only to face rejection each time he's forced to intervene and use his powers. But the most pointed exploration of Clark's otherness in these chapters comes through his new, complex relationship with his parents. The Kents have always been integral to Clark's development as Superman, often shown as the source of his unwavering moral character. However, Waid also adds new depth to the family's dynamic through Jonathan Kent, and his growing jealousy of Clark's heritage. While still a loving father, Jonathan grows distant and bitter as Clark continues to look into his birthplace, causing him to lash out at his son. It's only after a near-death experience that Waid finally addresses the pull between Superman's identities. He's just as much Clark as he is Kal-El, and it's only by accepting both halves that he can truly become who he was meant to be.
I didn't say anything because I wanted to believe it hadn't broken, Clark. But then you come back only to tell me you didn't even want my name anymore. That you're gonna go off and create a whole new identity for yourself. I miss my son.
Is that what you meant when you said I wasn't like you?
I didn't mean for you to hear.
Doesn't matter. Not like you. Not like a man who left home when he was 18 to find his place in the world. Who was strong enough to figure out who he was rather than let others decide that for him. Was that hard for you?
Very.
Then where do you think I got the courage to do the same thing?
Birthright's beginnings have all the hallmarks of classic Superman, but Waid's use of identity, heritage, and discrimination ultimately transform the character and his mythos, leaving readers with a more conflicted hero, struggling to find his identity in a colder, more hostile world. The series' artwork builds perfectly on the hero's evolution. Lionel Francis Hughes' pencils bring a somber weight to Clark's younger years, heightened by Jerry Allen Gielin's rich, shadow-heavy inks. Fittingly, by contrast, Superman's arrival is nothing but spectacular, towering, bold, and thanks to Dave McCaig's colors, as timeless as ever. Finally claiming his birthright as a son of Krypton, Clark has become something monolithic and unbreakable. A true man of steel.
The problem with keeping your light hidden under a bushel is that it tends to isolate you,
States Waid.
We all need to feel that we're a part of something, and there's no time that we feel more a part of something than when we're doing what we do best and when we're letting our light shine.
As Clark comes to accept both halves of himself, Waid transforms the character's signature S-crest into a symbol of his dual heritage, finally putting Clark on the path to becoming Superman. But through the judgment and paranoia of this modern world, Waid also issues the Man of Steel a challenge. Can the hero use his new identity to inspire the public and break through their fear? Or will their prejudice end Superman before he even begins? With Clark emerging as Superman, Birthright also explores how such a mythic figure could fit into a more modern world, specifically one grappling with fear and hatred of outsiders. The world of Birthright is one steeped in the nationalism of the War on Terror, lending a more oppressive, indifferent energy to the city of Metropolis that leaves both halves of the hero feeling isolated. Instead of a wholesome symbol of hope, the people of Metropolis see Superman as enigmatic, even threatening, a feeling that's focused through Waid's vision of the hero's arch-nemesis, Lex Luthor. Reimagined as a childhood friend of Clark's, Waid uses the themes of isolation and alienation to parallel the characters, as well as foreshadow their respective arcs. While Clark is able to overcome his isolation, even building a persona to show that connection, Lex is wholly consumed by his bitterness and lust for power, attempting to demonize the incorruptible Superman in the eyes of the public.
Understand, I've spent my entire life searching for a civilization further up the evolutionary ladder than the knuckle-draggers I was unfortunate enough to be born among. Well, you finally showed up, and given your first chance, you deliberately humiliated me. You looked at me like I look at the ants. You don't get to do that. Period.
You're crazy.
Au contraire, I'm the only sane inmate of Asylum Earth. I'm not eager to hand tomorrow over to an interplanetary extremist with laser eyes. There's only room for one world leader, Superman. When I'm finished with you, every last gibbon out there will know you for the menace you are. And they'll realize that Lex Luthor is their savior.
Using images and artifacts he's collected, Lex attempts to weaponize Krypton's past against its last son, fabricating evidence that the Man of Steel is the first of an army of invaders. Waid's critique here, shown through the many uses of the hero's crest, is obvious. In the modern world, Superman isn't just a superhero, but a symbol, whose status ultimately keeps him distant from the very people he's trying to help.
Once I got deeply into the story, I began to realize that it seems more unrealistic than ever that someone with these powers and abilities might actually choose to go public, while wearing a big red cape no less.
Explains Waid.
Until now, the answer to the question, why would he, has simply been because it's the right thing to do. I wanted a much deeper answer than that, and I think we found one. The Superman identity is now more tied up in Clark's need to belong to the world rather than stand apart from it. It's tied up in his desire to explore his alien heritage and in a need to find and fulfill his own murky destiny.
While Lex is able to co-opt the symbol of Superman, it's the hero's own compassion and human connections that allow him to endure. These connections are shown through the steady changes in Clark's media portrayals, and Jimmy Olsen literally reclaiming the hero's crest. But Clark's greatest strength comes in his developing relationship with Lois Lane. Writers have often used Lois to define Clark's humanity, acting as a moral compass and grounding an otherwise godlike being. But through Birthright's immigrant parable, Waid manages to deepen the pair's relationship even further. Through Lois, Clark finds someone who finally trusts and accepts him for who he is, and it's that acceptance that gives him the strength to keep fighting for the people of Metropolis, even if they don't feel the same.
They'll come around. You watch what happens the next time someone tries to co-opt that symbol. People know now. It stands for courage. It stands for hope. It stands for Superman.
Birthright's tenure as a definitive origin didn't last long, being quickly eclipsed by 2005's Infinite Crisis, along with the character's tie-in Superman: Secret Origin. However, the miniseries' legacy can be seen in the Man of Steel's mythology to this day, through more nuanced, grounded takes on the character, and a growing focus on his status as an inherently political figure.
My biggest point of pride with the series may be its long-tail reception,
says Waid.
At the time it was published, my dream project after all, I joked that it was like finally being able to play Carnegie Hall, but no one was in the audience. But the audience the story has built since is far more rewarding. I'm proud that my name is on a perennial.
In a world where publishers continue to deem the character irrelevant, Birthright remains the perfect argument of why Superman means so much to so many people. Through striking imagery, layered characterizations, and an intense focus on identity and heritage, Waid and his collaborators demonstrate the real strength at the heart of the hero. He's a symbol of hope for two worlds, a testament to our ability to endure, carry on our past, and give our all to help shape a better future for the next generation.
Mother! Father!
I made it!
Hey everyone, thanks so much for checking out my video on Superman Birthright. I owe a lot of the inspiration for this to Aeric Azana, who did the voice of Superman, and his spotlight for the series on the Geeksplain podcast. It's a beautiful love letter to the series and the character, so please check it out if you have the chance. If you like this video, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and click the little bell to get notified whenever I make new videos. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay super.